The OTAs are finally underway for the Dallas Cowboys, and we're back in football season. For real this time. This is KD Drummond of bloggingtheboys.com, and we're here to talk about day one of the first OTA session for the Cowboys. Obviously, everybody's heard about the big news. Tony Romo will not be participating in these OTAs. He's actually going to be out for the next few weeks as he's recovering from surgery on his back. He had a cyst removed. It was done actually a little bit before the draft at the end of April. He hasn't fully recovered. This is, of course, going to be a big news topic simply because he's a quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, on top of the fact that he signed a big 6-year extension over the offseason. Now, Romo obviously is going to be a lightning rod when it comes to these sort of things, and you've seen things on both sides of the table, extremism on both sides, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. On one hand, it's not that big of a deal simply because of the fact that it is OTAs. It's not training camp. He's not going to be missing any, padded practices. But the truth is that with a new center trying to get that snap exchange down, trying to get a rapport with two players that should be a big part of the passing game this season, second-round pick Gavin Escobar, third-round pick Terrence Williams at wide receiver, you would definitely like to see Romo involved in these sessions and actually being out on the field with those guys instead of them having to worry about getting some chemistry down with Kyle Orton and then trying to transfer that to what they do with Tony Romo. Again, Romo came out, he said that if it was a game, he would be able to play in the coming week, but since it's not, he's going to be precautionary and take some time to get himself together. But all in all, you would much rather see Tony Romo going through these things because it's not like they're out there playing duck, duck, goose. This is team practice. This is the first practices of the year for the entire team, and there are going to be some important things that happen. Now, along those lines on the injury front, we also have the issue of Demarco Murray. He missed practice today. Word was that he actually has a very minor hamstring injury. He said it's not a big deal, but he wasn't out there. That's a little bit of a problem, especially when you're talking about what's going on with Demarco Murray and the injuries that he's had. For him to not be there on day one, it's a little bit of a big deal to me. Other players that missed time today that weren't on the field, they were off on the sideline doing work. You had fullback Lawrence Vickers, defensive tackle Sean Lissamore, linebacker Justin Durant, UDFA safety Jakar Hamilton, he missed time. The new DT that was signed recently, Anthony Hargrove, he missed time. He seemed to be out of shape. Everybody else seemed to have minor nicks and bruises. The good news is that we did see the return to the football field of Sean Lee, Bruce Carter, Demarcus Ware, Jay Ratliff, Barry Church, Matt Johnson. All of these guys were actually on the field today. Danny Cole, wide receiver that tore his ACL back in November, he was back with the team. It was great to see the walking wounded return to the field and actually get some football action in. Now, the way the OTAs were structured, you had basically a practice drill session, and that was followed by actual team activities. In the team activities, some of the guys sat out. Demarcus Ware sat out, Mackenzie Bernardow, Jay Ratliff. They set out the actual team drills, the team run, and then a little bit of the actual passing drills that were open to the public that were broadcast live on DallasCowboys.com. Those guys didn't get into that mix, but they were on the field today, so they do seem like they're not going to be too far away from being full go. Now, the session that we saw, the practice session and then the team drills, actually gave us a glimpse into the only thing that you can wean from the first day of OTA, and that's the depth chart. We saw on the defensive line that Demarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer were joined by Jay Ratliff and Jason Hatcher. Jay Ratliff did start off at the 3 tech, Jason Hatcher at the 1 tech. Their backups were Kyle Wilbur and Tyrone Crawford, and then Ben Bass and Robert Callaway. That was your defensive line. Sean Lee, Bruce Carter, they were your Mike and your Will linebacker. They were joined with Justin Durant being out. They were joined by Alex Albright playing the Sam. Ernie Sims backed him up. In the secondary, you got a glimpse of seeing Brandon Carr and Morris Claiborne at your cornerback positions. The top safety line was actually Barry Church and Will Allen. Matt Johnson ran on the second line along with Danny McCray, and they were joined at the cornerback positions by Orlando Scandrick, the slot corner, and Sterling Moore played the other corner. The rookies really didn't seem to get involved that much in this early portion of things. Actually, Phil Coster was a starting center when it came to these initial practice drills, but as the team moved over into the actual team run, Travis Frederick took over at center, and he really didn't get rotated out in the drills. You saw some guys get rotated out, Ron Leary, David Arkin at the right guard position, Parnell in for Doug Free, but Frederick really played everything, and there was even a screen pass in the team run portion, or right after the team run portion where you saw Frederick get out into space. He was downfield blocking Sean Lee as a running back, actually created some room for himself. So that was a good thing to see. Now, obviously, there's a teaching session that's going on here, and that's really the primary thing that's going on. So you saw guys, coaches were getting on them. You saw a lot of tweets about this from Brian Broaddus, Mike Fisher talking about they got on Matt Johnson for taking the wrong angle. Some of the other players, Morris Claiborne took a bad angle, but then he made a nice play against Dez. Scandrick made some good plays. You saw reports of Romo talking to Terrence Williams on the side about, making himself get free and how he runs his routes, how he sets up his routes. So all in all, that's really what you're going to take from these OTA sessions. It's all about the teaching. There were some injuries that did occur. Obviously, we already talked about Demarco Murray. Des Bryant did seem to tweak his lower back, but he did return to practice. Tyrone Crawford seemed to hurt his back, and that might keep him out for the remainder of this session of the OTAs. He doesn't think it's going to be anything serious. I saw some tweets about how he said at the end of practice he might be out for a day or two, which is really all that you're getting out of this OTA session. This week is Tuesday through Thursday. Next week is Tuesday through Thursday. The following week is going to be Monday through Thursday. And then the final week, the fourth week, is actually going to be a team minicamp, which again will be for 3 days from June 11th through the 13th. Following that, the team will take about a month off, and then they'll reconvene in Oxnard, California for the training camp. That'll kick off July 21st. That's a Sunday. And then you're going to actually see the team go through 4 to 5 weeks of hell. They'll take a break to play some games. The first preseason game is Hall of Fame against the Miami Dolphins in Canton, Ohio. That's set for August 4th. So we're finally back into football. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering for you. We appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, SBN Blogging the Boys. Check out the website, Blogging the Boys, for all of your latest updates. We'll have more recaps as the OTAs go on. Follow me on Twitter at KDP10for10, at KDP10FOR10, and don't forget to check out our audio podcast. You can search on iTunes or any podcatcher, Cowboys Crunch Time with KD. Just put that in, search for us, subscribe. We appreciate it. Make sure you stay with us throughout the summer and throughout the upcoming season. Salute.